Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk to you about how you pay for your house, whether you do a mortgage, whether you don't do a mortgage. And it's important to understand that I'm not in the mortgage business. I don't make money on mortgages, never have, never will. My job is to teach you about how to capitalize and optimize all of your assets when it comes to retirement and estate planning. And the hardest part about that job is getting people to understand that not necessarily everything they think to be true is true. And so if everything you thought to be true turned out to not be true, how soon would you want to know? See, the problem here is that you keep going, hey, how do we get out of this box? And you keep talking to the same people in the same box on how to get out of the box. And the reality is the directions are on the outside. And so not until you get outside of the box before you can really understand that all your life you've been thinking the wrong way because people have been teaching you to think the wrong way and because they're in the same exact box. Now, right or wrong really doesn't matter, but mathematics is going to show you in the end here that there's a lot more sense in having your house financed than there is in having it paid off. What you choose to do at the end of this is entirely up to you, because all that matters is that now you have a new box because you have more knowledge, and what you choose after that is up to you. Now, I'm going to ask you a series of 5 questions here that should not come up right away, but that's okay. Here we go. And there are only 2 answers to these questions. It's true or false. So what I'd like you to do is write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'd like you to go along with me here and write down what you think your answers are, true or false. What do you really believe? Is it true or is it false? So the first question I'm going to ask you is, a large down payment will save you more money over time than a small down payment. Now, most people answer true to that question, but what do you think? True or false? The second question is, a 15-year mortgage will save you more money over time than a 30-year mortgage. True or false? Most people answer true. Making extra principal payments saves you money. Most people answer true. Write it down, true or false. The interest rate is the main factor in determining the cost of a mortgage. True or false? Write it down. And you are more secure having your house paid off than 100% financed. And most people answer true. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down true or false on 1 through 5 very quickly here, and we're going to move on. So now we have 3 types of money. We have what's called accumulated money, lifestyle money, and transferred money. Now, lifestyle money, that's the money you live on. So if you know anything about me, you know that my rule is live like you're going to die tomorrow and plan like you're going to live forever, because you see, you just might. And I guarantee you won't be lying on your deathbed going, oh, I wish I saved another dollar. But that being said, how much time would you like to spend today on sacrificing your lifestyle? And the answer to that should be 0. Now, accumulated money, this money up here, this is the money that we've managed to save. This is our stocks, our bonds, our mutual funds, our 401ks, 403bs, checking savings, Bitcoin, real estate. This is the money that we've managed to put together and accumulated going forward. And that's the game that we're in right now. We're in the game of accumulation, trying to get enough money to make sure that when we get to retirement, we will have enough money coming in, adjusted for inflation, out over our lifetime, and not run out of money while we're still alive, and then pass it on in the most tax-favored way. But the third one is the most important one here, and that's the transferred money. You see, I've never met a person yet that wasn't transferring money unknowingly and unnecessarily out of their life, and we do this in 6 major areas. We do this in how we pay our mortgage, qualified plans, how we fund those, college funding, taxes, protection, and major capital purchases. Now, we could go down any one of these roads today, but we're going to just talk about the mortgages today. Now, mortgages can be kind of confusing, but the things to understand is that when we're comparing home financing strategies, besides the home, the most important decision is how we choose to finance it. Now, I love it when a person says, well, I paid cash for my house. I say, oh, you financed it. And they says, no, you weren't listening to me. I paid cash for my house. I say, no, you weren't listening to me. You financed it. See, you either finance it with your money or you use other people's money in order to finance it. Either way, you finance it. You finance everything you buy. Whether you finance it through a bank or whether you finance it out of your checking and savings account, you are financing it. Every well-planned mortgage loan considers the intended strategic outcomes. What is your exit strategy? How do you plan on getting out of this? Comparing a 15-year mortgage to a 30-year mortgage term side by side is the key to an informed decision. See, most people think, well, it's got to be better if it's 15 years because I'm paying less in interest. But the reality is there's many more factors to consider here. Whether choosing a traditional mortgage or paying cash, each impacts monthly cash flow and the long-term retirement strategies. Remember what I told you. I didn't come here to talk to you really about mortgages. I came here to talk to you about how to optimize your retirement strategies and your estate planning strategies going forward. Now, as I said, it's very confusing. There's all kinds of mortgages out there. 15-year mortgages, 30-year mortgages, ARMs, negative ARMs, bi-monthly payments, interest-only, balloon payments, and the list just keeps going and going and going. Now, tell me, do you think that banks make more money on a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage? Now, before we start talking about how they make more money or what they make more money on, let's talk about how do they make money. Well, the way they make money is they borrow money from you over here at a low rate, and the government leverages them up by $3 to $4, and then they loan the money over here to me at a high rate. So they borrow money, leverage it, and then loan it. Don't forget that. So let's just pretend for a second that we have a 30-year mortgage at 3%, and we have a 15-year mortgage at 2.75. Which mortgage is the bank making more money on? And would it surprise you to know that they make more money on the 15-year mortgage than the 30-year mortgage? And you say, well, that's impossible. They're getting 2.75 here and 3. But you're not factoring in how they're leveraging their money. You see, if you're paying them back on a 15-year mortgage, that gives them the ability to loan the money out over and over and over again and leverage it up. So believe me when I tell you, nobody knows leverage better than the banking institutions. So when we're looking at our choices on how we're going to finance our house and whether we're going to use a 15 or a 30-year mortgage, I think you should take a really hard look at what I'm about to show you here. So we go out over here and let's just say that we've got $500,000 and we're going to go buy a house for cash today. So I've got this $500,000, but I decided that rather than putting $500,000 inside of a house that was really made to house people, not money, I'm going to go out and I'm going to invest that $500,000. So I'm going to make 6% average on that money over 30 years. I'll have $3,011,288. Now, if I was to go down here and I was to take out a loan for that $500,000, let's say to put down 0 down payment and a 3% loan for 30 years, my payment monthly would be $2,108. And the amount of principal and interest that I would pay on that loan would be $758,887, which means that over that 30-year period of time, I just made a $2.2 million mistake by paying cash for my house. Think about that for just a second. Every $100,000 that's inside of your house is costing you a minimum of $500,000 over the next 30 years. Would that $2.5 million, $2.2 million make a small difference in your retirement? I'd say probably yes. Now, most people choose a 15-year mortgage because, well, what they think is that the interest they will save on the loan because it's a much shorter loan. What they don't understand is they pay most of that interest in the first part of the loan, not in the back part of the loan. The perception is the shorter the loan reduces the cost of the loan. Now, if you follow that logic, then you should just go pay cash for your house. But if you understand the mathematics of paying cash for your house, you'll quickly understand that paying cash for your house probably doesn't make a good idea. Now, I love this slide. This is my favorite slide of all. And the reason why I love it is because I got it wrong and I teach this stuff. So here's the thing. I'm going to go out here. I know I can get a 15-year mortgage for a lower rate than a 30-year mortgage. And I know I can get write-offs. And I know all that. But we're going to compare apples to apples. So I'm going to take 3% loan for 15 years. My payment will be $3,452.91. I'm going to take a 3% loan for 30 years. My payment will be $2,108.02. The difference between those two is $1,344.89. Now here's the question. If I go up here at the top and I make this payment of $3,452.91 for 15 years and I pay off the house, then I bank that exact payment for years 16 through 30, or I go down here at the bottom and I make this payment of $2,108.02 for 30 years and I bank $1,344.09 for every year for every month for 30 years. And I get the same rate of return I borrow at. So I borrow at 3, I make 3% rate of return. Which account will have more in it? The one on the top where I was putting all the money in the last 15 years, or the one on the bottom where I was putting the money in for 30 years? And the answer is, if we set that over here, is they will be exactly the same. But you see, that's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is often in that first 15 years of having that loan, we could become disabled, lose our job, a downturn in the economy. Many things could happen that would make it so that we couldn't make this payment. So let's say in year 10, we became disabled and we couldn't make this payment. You think the bank's going to work with us and say, hey, well, we know you've been making it for 10 years, but don't worry about it? Or do you think they're going to foreclose on our house? But if we were down here making this payment for 30 years and we lost our job, say in that 10th year, which would be right here. And by the way, that payment is $2,108.02. In the 10th year, which would be 120 months, we would have $186,000 in our account here. By the way, we would have even more than that because let's make our side fund over here 6%. So if we make our side fund 6%, we would be over here, and at that 30-year mark, or that 20-year mark rather, 10-year mark, 120 months, we'd have $217,000. So how many $2,108 payments could we make with $217,000? And the answer is enough. We'd be able to make enough of those payments so that we could work out what was going on in our house, refinance our house, whatever the case may be. We wouldn't be put out on the streets. So there's some strong argument for having a 30-year mortgage as long as you're going to bank the difference between the two. So let's compare apples and oranges now. So we'll actually go here. We'll take out a 15-year mortgage. Let's go ahead and finance all $500,000. So 15-year mortgage, 3%, 15-year mortgage, $3,452. This time we'll say we actually get a write-off for 20% on that mortgage, okay? We'll grow it at 6% in our side account. We'll go over here, we'll do the exact same thing, but now we'll have it at 3% because we're going to be on a 30-year mortgage, 20, and we'll make 6% on that side account. Okay, so when we look here, we've got side-by-side mortgages, same thing that we had before, but now we're going to factor in for the tax savings and the difference in the rate. This one should be 2.75, okay, and the difference in the rate. So we go here. So here's strategy number one. This is our 15-year mortgage. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to run out this for 15 years. So that would be out to age 57. And at 57, we can see our house is paid off. Everything is great. And if we go on out here into age 72, which would be 30 years, we can see that we would have $987,471 in our savings. Now, if we go forward to strategy number 2 and we run out here to 15 years, that would be 52, wouldn't it? 52. Do that again. 57 rather. 57. Notice that we have enough money in our savings account to actually pay off this mortgage if we wanted to. Now, what would be interesting to see is when would that happen? So let's back up here. So how about that? in about 13 years and maybe 11 months, I'd have enough money over in this account to pay off my house anytime I wanted to. So I could pay off my house faster if I took a 30-year mortgage and banked the difference. That's an interesting concept. So I'm going to go out here to 57. Now I'm going to go out to 72. And when I get out to 72 out here, notice I have $1.2 million in my house paid off. That's quite an interesting thing. That's a big difference if you ask me. All right, so now let's go back here. Let's compare them side by side. Okay, so if we go here side by side and we go ahead and we run this out here to age 57. At age 57, this one's paid off, but so is this one. I have enough money right here to pay it off anytime I want, all right? But I got no money in my savings account. So if something happens over here, I got a real problem. If something happens here, I've got a fallback position. So I go on out to 72 here. And at age 72, I've got, about $300 and some $1,000 sitting in my savings account and my house paid off. And if I run it all the way out to age 100, there's about a $2 million difference inside of here. 2.5, actually $1.5 million difference inside of $1.6 million difference. So which one do you think is better? You think I should have a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage? Now, we're going to take another test here. A large down payment will save you more money over time than a small down payment. Well, mathematically, that's false. A 15-year mortgage will save you more money over time than a 30-year mortgage. Mathematically, that's false. Making extra principal payments saves you money. No, that's false. The interest rate is the main factor in determining the cost of a mortgage. No, that's false. And you're more secure having your house paid off than 100% financed. Now, we didn't really talk about that, but it's actually false too. So let me give you an example. Well, you live in $1 million house, I live in $1 million house. We live right next door to each other. We head off to Las Vegas, and you're Mr. Excess Down or Mrs. Excess Down, and you've got $900,000 on your house. You owe $100,000. I've leveraged my house. I owe $1.2 million. Okay. Now, don't forget, when I leveraged my house, I took all that cash, I put it to work for me in a safe, tax-free environment. And so now what happens is that while we're gone, this huge earthquake comes and it swallows your property and my property. Who's better off, me or you? And the answer is me, because I've got the cash in the bank and your cash is in the bottom of the hole. We could go on and say, well, what if on that trip, instead of our house getting swallowed, we both became disabled, neither one of us could work anymore? Whose house would they take first? They would take yours, because they only have to sell yours for $100,000 to get all of their money back. Whereas mine, they would come to me and work it out with me and figure out how they could keep me there long enough to actually get that house back up to value so they wouldn't lose money. Don't believe it's true? Well, I've actually seen it happen over time. Now, keep in mind that I'm not in the mortgage business. I'm in the retirement and estate planning business. And my expertise lies in retirement and estate planning. And I can tell you how you pay your mortgage is a very, very important part of that planning going forward. Now, whether you choose to pay off your house right now with cash or never is really up to you, but financially, it's going to make a huge difference going forward. And I think that maybe if you thought you were sleeping well at night because your house was paid off, suddenly once you see the mathematics, you won't sleep so well. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and go out and visit our website at www.yoursafemoneypeople.com. Remember, live like you're going to die tomorrow and plan like you're going to live forever, because you just might. Keep smiling and make it a great day.